All right, man, let's go ahead and go through with it. This video is for anybody who is a new coach, anybody who is just looking for some advice on coaching or personal training as a professional in the game. So check this out, man. I've been doing this for like 10 years now, maybe a little bit more. Started when I joined the military. And at that point, I was just helping people get conditioned and lose weight so that they could go to boot camp because that's what I had to do for myself. Fast forward, my first job was at Equinox in Culver City. And dude, if I say that, bro, as a new trainer, it's a blessing if you can get into a gym that is just opening because you're going to have an influx of clientele. Somewhere like Equinox, it has the tendency to attract a very affluent demographic. So you tend to make a little bit more money, or you tend to have access to more people who are willing to spend that money and invest into themselves, which is perfect. I'd say the first thing I learned though was like, oh shoot, I'm passionate about fitness, but I wasn't passionate about sales because I thought sales were sleazy. And I learned that through selling myself, it's not sleazy if you believe in the product or the service that you are selling. And that changed it for me to where, one, at the time, I was like 25 and I didn't have a lot of money at the time. And one of the managers that I worked under, Laura, she was like, dude, don't think about this with your wallet. She was like, and don't worry about their money, right? If they're here for a service, the price is the price. You do what you do, they do what they do. You keep it pushing. You don't need to be worrying about all that other stuff. Very valuable advice. And then the other part was confidence. Shout out to Courtney because she basically, when I was going through imposter syndrome as a new coach, she was like, bro, first off, I wouldn't have hired someone that wasn't ready to do this. Like, so have some respect for me. And then she was like, dog, you just got to believe in yourself, man. Go out there, talk that talk and walk that walk. And that's all across the board. This was at Equinox. Afterwards, I moved up to Seattle, and I got the opportunity to work very, very close with people that owned the gyms. So shout out to Eastlake Performance. My guy Paul took me under his wing like a big freaking bro, man, and I'm thankful to this day. So I hope he watches this video and he sees it. But he showed me, he really got down to the nitty gritty of training. Like I learned a lot at Equinox. Don't get me wrong. When I got to Paul, he was very athletic. So he talked a lot about the athletic stance. He looked at how I used to squat and he was like, try this way because how do you run? Do you run like this or do you run like this? And I was like, okay. And through that process, he broke down like his philosophy and how he got people to come through the door. And he showed me a lot of behind the scenes of like how he was handling payroll, how he, was keeping the doors open, all this different stuff. And that was a beautiful experience because one thing I noticed, like places that are like your 24-hour fitnesses, all of your like mainstream gyms, they're going to survive like regardless. But these smaller places or like boutique fitness, dude, an owner presence makes a big difference. It makes a big difference for the trainers. It makes a big difference for the clientele and the overall community when the owner is present. Maybe if he was there every day. Maybe the owner is not there every day. Maybe the owner is there once a week. I'm getting to that in a second, but shout out to Paul because I learned a lot as far as the training thing because he was like, hey, this is what we do here. I'm going to make sure that you could like stick to that and also have your own style with it. But he taught me a whole lot as far as like athletic training. And at that facility, I got a chance to train a lot of like younger athletes. I got a chance to train a lot of different people. And then he would coach me and I would coach him. And man, I'm just thankful for that experience, dude. That was awesome. I also worked at a spot called Eastlake Performance. I'm sorry, not Eastlake Performance. Already talked about them. I also worked at a spot called Experience Momentum, which is it's like a one-stop shop, man. Shout out to Shannon, dude. Man, basically, this is all in Washington State, but it was a physical therapy center. You could also see a dietitian. I was a fitness specialist, so a personal trainer, and then they had group fitness and CrossFit. It's literally a one-stop shop, bro. And I noticed how they kind of like phase people through, and I got the opportunity to work there as a PT aide or a PT tech and a fitness specialist or personal trainer. And a lot of times what I got to do was everybody that kind of was leveling up through their physical therapy journey, they were being passed along to me to now do personal training and, potentially go on to group fitness or whatever it may be. But that was a beautiful experience because I got to learn different avenues of the game and I got to just see somebody with a really big vision, like make it happen, man. So like, I'm still impressed to this day. He's got a beautiful family and he really did his thing and it was nothing but love. And when I say that he was on it, present there daily, he walked the walk because he was a physical therapist himself. He freaking coached the CrossFit classes. Like, so if there was no job that was beneath him. He did the do. And one thing that I really admired was he was on it every Monday with a new email that went out, and it wasn't just fluff. It was everything that was going on. Like when I had to resign, I looked at that email, I saw it, and he kept it real. And dude, I shed a tear as I read it, man, because I didn't want to leave that place. It just, the commute was too much for me, and it was just too far. Right. Also, I worked overnight at the front desk at a spot, Olympic Athletic Club. It was a chill job, man. It was like just to pull some extra money through. I would leave that job though, and I would go to UW, and I was a recreational personal trainer there. And I got to coach just the students there. I got to coach a lot of people from like Asia and India, and that was really, really cool because you get a dose of different culture. And it's really cool when you're like, okay, man, humans are awesome, because even if we don't speak the same language or we have a language barrier, there still is a way to communicate. And at UW, I got a lot more of the clinical stuff done. So I actually pulled out the calipers, did the body measurements like that, like skin folds. We did not high blood pressure. We just did the actual blood pressure cuff and a lot of stuff like that. So it's very like clinical setting, and that was cool just to have those tools in my toolbox. When COVID hit, like every gym closed, and me and my wife and our daughter Haven, we went to Georgia for a funeral and ended up staying like 3 months. And by that time, I just went back out to Seattle, packed up our apartment, shipped our cars back to the East Coast, and that just kind of was a wrap on that journey. But because everything was closed, a lot of people that I worked with there in Seattle and just throughout the past, I was able to take on as online clients, and that was a whole new thing, man. It's about to get real interesting. Y'all keep watching. That was a whole new thing, because online training was like, I was like, shoot, man, this is almost too good to be true. I pop on Zoom, we coach it out, and then I dip. And I think the hardest thing about that was like making sure that I wasn't too lax. You know what I mean? Making sure that my background was clean, making sure that, like the at the time it was just Haven, making sure that, she was taken care of and this and that, so I could coach and focus. But that was really cool because I did everything on Zoom, and then I got paid through Venmo, and I managed to make some good money like that. And I worked with those people for years. Up until recently, I stopped doing Zoom sessions just because of it just really not panning out the way I needed it to be. And then my house gets busy now. I got 3 kids, bro, like all up in here. So like that type of thing. But that was an awesome experience. And then I learned that there was no limit to it, bro. That was like they're all the way in Seattle, and on the West Coast, I'm all the way out here in Georgia, and we are still connected. And I got to keep these people for years. And throughout the time, I learned a lot of different coaching platforms, Trainerize, QuickCoach.fit. It's a free one that you could use if you're just getting started. And then let's move on. I needed to get a job still because I wanted to make more money. And Georgia closed down for like 2 weeks during COVID. And you know what was open? Something that I didn't want to do. I was always like, hey man, personal training, maybe semi-privates, I'm good here. Group fitness? That's like public speaking. I don't want to do that. I'm shy. At least that's what I told myself. And my wife was just like, yeah, well, hold yourself back then. And dude, if there's anybody that could say something that would like, I don't want to say make me do something, but say something that'll sell it, my wife's the only person that could do that. Like her and my kids, of course, but like my wife, like just under Christ, you know what I mean? Like she's the only person that could do that. So I love her. I was going to say though, she gave me that push. I worked at 2 gyms in Decatur, Georgia. F45 that was already open. And then I had the pleasure of going to a new brand opening gym, which was Burn Boot Camp Decatur. 2 different settings, man. F45, we got the TVs, we're rolling through. It was a really good way to get started because as a new coach, like, dude, when I went over to Burn Boot Camp, there's no TVs. It's just a whiteboard. And shout out to Jackie because she was like, bro, don't even rely on that whiteboard, bro. You need to have it up here, man. You need to have it up top. And, really like you're going to be that more like trustable and credible as a coach if you just know how to do the do, bro. And if you mess up, freestyle that junk. And she was like, I may know that you messed up, but they ain't got to know. And man, that was a game changer because I got comfortable in front of a lot of people, public speaking. I learned how to operate outside of what I felt because I was nervous as heck, but I wasn't about to let them see me sweat. You know what I mean? And I was like, the fact that going back to what Courtney said, yo, don't disrespect me. I gave you a chance, bro. So I know how to think. You know what I mean? Like, I'm paraphrasing what she said, but in other words, she was like, bro, I got good judgment. And I looked at that, and that was when I was like, okay, man, these people hired me for a reason, bro. Like, tap in, that type of thing. So that was when group fitness started. And like me and my wife, we've moved around a lot. And part of it's been pretty fun. Other part of it has been like, hey, if we would have just found the spot, we probably would have been further along. But God's still keeping us. And I've got a chance to meet a lot of great people along the way. So let's talk about Maryland now. I will forever love Maryland, the DMV area, Baltimore, the homies. I started at a gym with a couple named Kate and Daniel Blankenship and a guy named Scotty Forrester. To this day, I love those people. I don't work with them anymore at the moment, but and it's not off of like any bad blood. I don't live out there anymore. But I love those people. Kate and Daniel, bro, they were on their stuff as far as like systems in place, sales in place. Daniel almost like kind of like I remember when I was stuttering during my intro, because that was a brand new opening at 45. I'll get to that in a second. I was stuttering during my intro, and he gave me this reassurance, almost like a father figure, like, you got it, man. It was what I needed at the moment, dude. But fast forward, that was a brand new opening gym, and it got cool to see. Okay, how do you a brand new like boutique fitness spot opening up? Okay, how does this work? And I work with Ange Fit. Angie she's the truth, bro. Like, Jesus is the truth, and Angie's tight. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, worked with a great team of people, and when we were opening up the gym, I got to see, okay, this is what you got to do to actually get it started. We were doing pop-up camps in freaking November in Maryland, so it's cold. We were also doing as far as the sales calls, I got to learn about all the different software that they used. Learned a lot of different stuff, and then like I got to see people who were just really on their stuff, like really like they were like, hey, we gonna be present, we coaching a couple of these classes, you know what I mean? And then we step back, and then as soon as they step back, they boom open up another location. They got like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 locations, man. And I've really had the pleasure of working with them. And I'd say group fitness, I had that mastered by that time. I still got room to grow, you know what I mean? Like, never not growing, but I had a chance to work with them, and it was awesome to see all the systems and the software and the tools that you use when you are running a boutique fitness gym. And I was like, well, why would you do a franchise? And I kind of found out why they decided to do a franchise, and dude, they do numbers, man. Straight up. And the thing is, it's not just about the money. They take care of their people, and I think the numbers are just a reflection of that. So I salute them. Shout out to them. That was an awesome experience. And then let's talk about moving to Greensboro. I'm gonna be honest, man. It's been an interesting experience out here, bro. I've worked at a couple different spots. I've worked at 3 gyms that have pretty much closed down. One was this spot called Rockbox off of Battleground, and I would say, dude, no shade on anybody, but I think that when you don't have systems in play, or I quickly learned that when the owners don't want to be present and don't really get involved, then dude, stuff tends to fall apart that way if you didn't really instill a culture of getting it done and of integrity and things of that nature. So that gym closed. That was just weird. And I went across the street to F45. I was given a 2-week notice through email, the same one that the members got, that the gym was closing. And it just was, the owners just kind of pulled away. I think one of them lived in like the Cayman Islands. And it really was just like a gym where people were just floating around. The standard that was held there was different than the standard that Kate and Daniel held in Maryland. And no shade. I'm just stating facts, man. You feel me? So that changed. However, somebody came and swooped through. A member pulled me to the side. He was like, hey, dude, would you still work here if we were able to keep these doors open? I got a partner, and we may change it into like his concept, but we're gonna keep the doors open. I was like, cool, man. I want to keep a job. You know what I mean? Like, I want to, like, let's do it. You know what I mean? And at first it was very exciting. I was all in. Owner was present. And then it got weird. And I'm here just to say this, dude. Like, bro, don't ever do anything for free in this industry, man. I'd say, like, yeah, you got to help people and be adding that value. But don't, if somebody owns a space and they're telling you to do stuff for free, dude, that's an absolute red flag. I didn't catch on. I was so dang gullible and just like trying to be down for the cause and to prove my loyalty. But there's another thing, dude, in this game, bro. Don't waste your time trying to trying to prove something to people who've already made their mind up about you. Fast forward a year later, shout out to Jim Rohn, some of the best advice I ever heard. He said, hey man, if you do it wrong for a year, we don't need a second year to do it wrong. Like, go ahead and do something else. And after a year, pretty much it was a lot of broken promises. And it pretty much was like, hey, when the gym gets to this amount of revenue, then you'll have this type of salary. And pretty much when it came time to ask numbers about the gym and this and that, dude, like, and thankfully I got some skin in the game. I know what's going on. I wasn't getting the truth and I wasn't getting communicated with. And again, I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus or throw any shade because I don't even want to spend that much time on that topic. I just want to say that, dude, there's a big difference in a gym that has an honest owner present and then somebody who just wants to be a boss from afar. There's a big difference in that, and the culture will always reflect that, and gyms like that usually don't last. I was told that 5 years prior to seeing this happen, and it's true. Anyway, what I'm going to close with is this. If you are a fitness professional or somebody that's looking to get involved in the fitness game, working for somebody is a great opportunity, especially if they're honest and they got competitive pay. It's a great opportunity to make mistakes and get your feet wet and to learn a lot. It's a great opportunity and to still make money along the way. What you will see though is that because it's not your gym and because you're not bringing the leads in and this and that, the percentage of what you take home per session or per class is a lot lower than if you were doing your own thing and you own it yourself. Now, this is where everybody's like, oh, entrepreneurship. Sure. But you got to be prepared with that because there's a cross to carry with that as well, in a sense of like, okay, when you become an entrepreneur, then dude, you got to be willing to wear multiple hats. I tried that before and I tried it too early. I wasn't ready. I quit my job in Georgia because hopefully that train isn't too loud, but quit my job in Georgia because I had felt like there was no growth or this and that. And I went completely on my own and I was making just enough to have my eyes above the water. You know what I mean? There was still water getting in my nose. I was still choking, you know what I mean? And that was when I realized, hey man, this is great, but you're not ready for that yet, or you didn't go about the right way. So if you want to take that route, you make sure you're ready for it. But there's nothing wrong with working for somebody and working in a gym. Just know what you're getting into. And I'd say communication and transparency is key. A lot of times there's like all of these little hidden loopholes and fees that these gyms do. Like for instance, let's say you work for a gym and like, yeah, we'll pay you $40 a class. They don't tell you about the 90 minutes that you're going to spend cleaning and setting the floor or breaking down the floor afterwards. They're not going to tell you about that. And then when it's time to talk about it, oh, that's all included in that $40 rate. So now instead of making $40 a class or $40 an hour, you made $40 over the course of 3 hours or 4 hours. And at that point, you're like, shoot, man, I might as well go work at McDonald's at this point because I just made $10 an hour. No shade to anybody making $10 an hour, but if you didn't sign up for that, then you're probably going to be pissed off. So it's good to know about that. And when it comes to the online thing, dude, having a system in play is the best thing to do. If you got systems, you save yourself a lot of stress and you actually are able to help out more people, because I think that's the biggest thing is that when I was working with certain people, I felt like they weren't serious. And then, again, shout out to my wife. She was like, well, maybe they're not serious because you aren't as serious. You aren't as serious with how you're doing things. Yeah, you're passionate about helping them and you write some great workouts, but what about everything else? And, I'm just here to say, like, dude, if you decide to go that entrepreneurial route, have a plan, have some systems, hopefully have some money as a cushion, you know what I mean? Because everything's not promised. I hope you succeed in that you do numbers out in here, man. You know what I mean? Off top, no matter which route you go. But that's my experience thus far in the fitness industry. And now I'm creating content and, I'm doing my thing in some other areas and I'm enjoying it. And it's been awesome because I know myself very well now. And I'm thankful for every experience, good or bad, because none of them killed me. And I'm still here and I can share this game with you. And I hope that it helps you. And I hope that this game that you learn helps you change the game for all of your clients and anybody else who you may mentor or anybody else, man. I hope that it helps you change the game, that it was positively impactful in your life as well, man. So long video. If you stay for all 20 minutes, bro, I appreciate you. I salute you and I'll see you in the next video, man.